Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another session of Research and Publication Ethics. And we already have completed Unit 1, and in Unit 1 we had 5 lectures. And today we're going to start with Lecture 6. And now we are entering into Unit 2 of Research and Publication Ethics. And the title of Unit 2 is Scientific Conduct. So what we gonna cover in this lecture 6, let me put some light on this. So lecture 6, unit 2, scientific conduct, research and publication ethics. So we have bifurcated lecture 6 in 3 parts. A, you can see ethics with respect to science and research, intellectual honesty, research integrity. And then next lecture would be a lecture 7, and that will reflect on Unit 2, so that would be scientific misconduct. We'll talk about redundant publication, and then finally we'll end the Unit 2 with selecting, reporting and misinterpretation of data. So welcome back, good morning everyone, and now we are starting with Unit 2. And in Unit 2 we have this first lecture basically. So Unit 1 we had 5 lectures. Now we are continuing with the Unit 1, entering into Unit 2. So now we have this lecture 6, and then we'll have lecture 7. So with these two, 6 and 7, we would be able to complete Unit 2. So welcome back everybody, and let us see what we're gonna discuss in this lecture 6. So we'll start with ethics. And ethics, we already have discussed ethics, but here ethics with respect to science and research. Later on we'll discuss ethics linked with publication. Ethics in general we have discussed in Unit 1, and we have been talking about ethics as a part of philosophy. So we had discussed in Unit 5, in Unit 1, I believe lecture 5, that how ethics play a very important role. And if we bifurcate philosophy, if we talk about philosophy, different kind of philosophy, then ethics is a one which we need to understand, which we need to study. So as a researcher, we need to understand what is philosophy. Then slowly we need to understand that whatever a philosophical statement, whatever philosophical ideology or whatever justification you are giving, it should be somewhere ethically sound. If it is not, then there would be a lot of consequences of your research, so that society and community, they have to bear that cost. So let us move further, and welcome back. So start with lecture 6 today, and which already have been bifurcated into ethics with respect to science and research. Then we will talk about intellectual honesty, and then research integrity. So let us see, put more light on this. We start with the first concept of scientific conduct. So ethics with respect to science and research. What is ethics? These are rules and regulation which really help us to decide what is right and what is wrong. And you all are aware of what is science. Science is systematic way of conducting research, a systematic way to find out solution to problem. How these two, ethics and science, are related, so we are going to put more light on that, because if you conduct any research and if you use any technology and it's not ethically you have been using, then definitely it would be against environment, that would be against human being. So we don't want to bear that cost. We don't want to face that kind of challenge where ethics is not going with science. So let us move further, and here you can say ethics in science research. Let me put this here. I hope that would be okay. So science ethical standards are based on the goal of the scientific profession, which include the quest of knowledge. So here in science, the first important thing is that we all are hungry to gain more and more knowledge. So it's all already, somewhere as a scholar you will have a lot of questions, you will have a lot of questions, you all will be hungry to gain more and more knowledge. And then when you are knowledgeable, it really eliminate our ignorance. So uh, that is our duty as a teacher, as a scholar, as a researcher, that if something is there which people are not aware of, people they don't understand that, so this is our duty to bring some logic and create some argument, create some premises, and help people with the script, with the information, with the knowledge, so that we can eliminate their ignorance. You might have noticed that in different culture people have different belief, and because of that you might have noticed your community, your society may be in problem. For example, in COVID-19 cases, you might have noticed a lot of people in villages, they do different kind of things which they are not following the what do you call the COVID-19 the what do you call framework, whatever guidelines has been provided by government, but they have their own belief. So as a scholar, as a researcher, we need to give them some knowledge, we need to eliminate that ignorance which is prevailing among community, among society. So and beside that, see, whatever scientific work has been done, whatever solution has been provided, whatever vaccine has been created by a scientist, so people believe that it would be harmful. So we need to create such kind of solution, not only in COVID-19 but in all possible problem, in all possible crises. So whenever you conduct a research, find out the right kind of crisis, right kind of problem, and then gain knowledge, create knowledge sometime, and help people so that they can overcome from these challenges which have been there for many years because of beliefs, because of kind of learning they have had. So this is what a real research, action research, and UGC, ICSSR, they are saying that you need to conduct a research which will provide some solution to your society, to your environment, to your community, to the people, for their well-being, for their good environment, good perspectives. So that we need to work on. So here, ethical conduct in science should not violate commonly accepted moral standards, and it should promote advancement of scientific goal. So whenever you conduct any research, guidelines are there, whether it's in science, whether in humanity, whether in social science. So what we need to do, we need to uh, find out what are the moral standards, what are the values, what are the customs, and we should try not to avoid, not to violate those customs, values, or moral standards. So your ethics come with your science, science come with your ethics. If you develop a kind of relationship, so then you will see your output, your research, your process would be acceptable to the society, to the community. So here, ethics in science and ethics in research, we need to understand whenever you're conducting any scientific research, ethics play a very important role. So here you can see different principles, different standards of ethics we already have discussed earlier, but let me put some more light on this. Duty to society, because we all are part of society, we cannot ignore society. So whatever you do, your action, reaction will affect the society. So it's our duty, whatever scientific research we conduct, it should be there for the development of the society. And then whenever you feel there is a conflict of interest, the second point, if the conflict of interest may be with any stakeholder, any element of a stakeholder could be public, it could be your colleague, it could be your supervisor, whosoever is there directly, indirectly linked with your research, you need to find out some solution that there must not be any conflict of interest, or maybe in advance you tell them that this would be the output and I'm informing you, and that could be in writing, you can discuss. Then very important thing, whosoever is going to give you information, whosoever is becoming your respondent, privacy is an issue. So, and secondly, you cannot collect information, you cannot take their personal information without their consent. So you need to inform them that, okay, this is a prior consent I'm taking from you, and whatever this information I'm collecting from you, that would be used for academic purpose, not for any commercial purpose. Integrity, whatever you say, whatever data you have, whatever output you have, you need to be very honest. You need to be maintain that integrity, that yes, whatever outcome you have, whatever output you have with your research, you need to tell people. You should not avoid the reality, because as a researcher, that is our duty to tell everybody that this is the reality, these are the fact. And you should not be a non you should not be discriminate among people, maybe on the basis of gender, on the basis of color, on the basis of caste. The right kind of research would be a research where you take all possible characteristics of the population. In population, you will see in our culture, it's not only a male female, but you talk about caste, you think of color, you think of there have been lot of variables which you need to consider. So you should not be biased. And beside that, there may be instances you got some kind of position where you can influence other, so that undue influence should not be there. That means you cannot exploit anyone, and you take their information and that get it published, and that would add some value to your credential. So it should be like you're not discriminating the things, and secondly, you're not exploiting people. So no discrimination among people, no, you're not going to exploit people, and you are trying to maintain the concept here. You can see the privacy, and whatever information you have collected, it will remain with you, it would remain confidential, right? And professional competency, here each and every profession has what you call code of conduct. So in our profession also, we need to follow some kind of professional norms, professional code of conduct, and that really help us to create such kind of image that people can trust you. So this is what this is these all points here you can see: professional competence, professional discipline, benefits, that you should not have any profit at the cost of other, honesty, carefulness, openness, freedom, social responsibility, efficiency, respect to subject. So these ethical codes, these all ethical standards, they all are linked with these science, whatever process you have adopted, whatever research process, scientific process, or whatever work you have adopted, which is basically scientific work. We need to follow these ethical standards. Ethics, here you can see what I did more research, and I have collected this information from you for you, that if you want to understand, if you want to know more about this, you can go through this text. Not only this text which is in Hindi and English, yeah, I have this video also that you can see everybody. So this video will help you definitely, and we can learn more about ethics in science. So that would be a kind of scientific conduct. So here now we move further. The second part of our discussion today, we are talking about intellectual honesty. See what happens when you become a master of a particular phenomena, when you become a master of something. At when you reach at this position, you become a master of something. Then at when you reach at this position, you know the loophole, you know the other things also, which can help you to gain more in a short period of time. So here what we need to do, we need to remain honest. And how we can be intellectually honest? So we are talking about this intellectual honest. It's basically applied method of problem solving, characterized by unbiased with honest attitude, which can be demonstrated in a number of different ways. So you are intellectual person, we all are intellectual people, and if you are honest, that will really enhance your credibility, it will enhance your what you call skills. It will enhance your credential. So here you can see how you can remain intellectual honest. So here what we need to note down: one's personal belief or politics do not interfere with the pursuit of truth. So if you have a different kind of personality, you may have your personal belief, right? Or you may be a person who is somewhere linked with some kind of politics. Politics doesn't mean you are part of a particular political party. So whenever two people are talking about third person, that is a kind of example which actually called a politics. So it should not interfere with the result, with the outcome which has been which you came out with your intellectual work. So that would be intellectual honesty, that you may have different belief, but whatever truth come, that you need to tell people that this is a truth, but my belief was something else, and it should not be affected by any politics. Second, relevant facts and information are not purposefully omitted, even when such things may be contradicts one hypothesis. So generally what we feel that this has been a trend, this kind of research has been conducted, and this kind of hypothesis has been tested, and this was the outcome. So what we do generally, we also try to replicate the same thing. We also try to have similar kind of output. If our output is different, then we feel that our research is not a good research. People will not like our research. But here, whatever outcome you have, whatever research you have conducted, this is our duty as an intellectual honest person. Whatever facts come, whatever information comes, right, no matter what kind of result you get, what kind of facts you get, it's contradictory to the existing information, existing knowledge, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. So if your null hypothesis is not rejected, it's okay, absolutely fine, because the respondent in your case study were different. The community, society, places, there may be a different factors which can affect your research or your respondent. So it's not necessary that what has been done earlier, the same repetition would be there or same outcome would be there. So that would be another example of intellectual honesty, that you need to be honest. Whatever research outcome you have given, you should remain with that. You should not modify it, you should not manipulate it. And then facts are presented in an unbiased manner. As you can have different belief, you feel that in your country we have this kind of situation, and it would be against our culture if I come out with this kind of result, this kind of output, this kind of outcome. It would not be as such socially acceptable. But you can play a very important role as a researcher. What you need to do, you need to tell with your fact, with your research, and you should not be biased because you feel like that you belong to a particular society, you belong to a particular community, and you observe something, but your output give you something else. So you should not be biased about it, and you should not twist the information, and you should not misleading impression or to support one view over another. And here a very important thing you can note down: references or earlier work are acknowledged where possible, and plagiarism is avoided. So that is another very important reflection on intellectual honesty, that you're not copying, you're not taking information, even you're taking idea. Even in that case, you need to acknowledge that person, that I have taken this information, this idea, this issue, this problem from this particular review of literature, you need to acknowledge that source. Now, so we have been talking about intellectual honesty. Okay, now we move to our third part of our discussion today, and this next part is about research integrity. And in research integrity, before I move further about and talk about research integrity, let me I have taken this from University of Edinburgh. What is research integrity? Let me read out for you. Research integrity means conducting research in such a way that allows others to have confidence and trust in the methods and the findings of the research. So what we need to do, what is the use of your research if people don't trust you, if they don't trust your research, if they don't trust your output or outcome? So what we need to do, it's not only in your own country, in your culture, in your state, but you wish that everybody on this earth, everybody in the world, they should read, they should cite your paper, they should cite your work. And that would be possible when you use scientific way of conducting a research. So here research integrity would be playing very important role in such a way that it allows others to have confidence and trust in the methods. So how to go about it? You need to use scientific methods and the findings of the research. Whatever findings you see, you need to present to all. So it relates both to the scientific integrity of conducting a research and to the professional integrity of the research. So key elements of research integrity include honesty. As a researcher, as a professional, what we need to do, and honesty is somewhere synonyms of a teacher. Teacher is a synonyms of a honesty. Teacher cannot teacher, whenever they say anything, that would be truth. So you need to believe, you need to trust your teacher. So honesty, and you need to be a bit rigorous, and whatever you say, whatever work you do, it should be very transparent, and the communication should be very open. It should not be biased, it should not be towards a particular society, particular community. It should be open. And it's your responsibility, because you have done a research on some respondent, you have done some research on the human behavior, opinion, like, dislike. So you need to take care, you need to give a lot of respect to them, and you are accountable. It's your accountability to give facts and tell everybody that okay, you are my respondent, whatever information I'm collecting for you, the purpose would be academic. There would not be any other purpose, like I'm not selling your information, I'm not using it for any commercial purpose. So these elements should be present at all stages of research. You might remember, I believe, that we have discussed different stages of research, and research ethics is the creation of research integrity. So if you understand research ethics, if you understand a ethics code of conduct, that would really support your research integrity. So this we have been talking about, and before we move further, and here you can see I'm talking about these different stages of the research process: identify data needs, spell out research questions, formulate study objectives, plan analysis, prepare data collection instrument, collect data, analysis of data, draw conclusion, formulating recommendation, inform stakeholders if you see some variation, what is the reality, what is the presumed reality, and whatever you have observed. So that information, again, you need this, give a kind of research gap. It gives you some kind of understanding that your research had this kind of limitation, but you can propose that others can do this kind of research. It will help them to decide that okay, this would be a kind of research gap for them, and that will support them. Before we move further, let me show you one video on research integrity, and later on also you can use this video. Let me run it for you, everybody.
Research integrity has obviously some overlap with research ethics, and both of these concepts have some overlap. Research integrity has obviously some overlap with research ethics, and both of these concepts have some overlap with which what we call in Europe responsible research and innovation, which is the societal relevance of. To me, research integrity concerns the behavior of individual scientists, of individual investigators. I'm not saying that that behavior is not influenced by systems and climates and perverse incentives. It is concerned with behavior, and more specifically, behavior that can hamper validity, truth finding, or trust in science or trust between scientists. That is what I mean when I say research integrity. And research ethics is everything that concerns the ethical consideration about research with humans and animals. In most countries we have laws for that. In most countries we don't have laws for research integrity. And then there is the domain of the societal relevance of research, and that concerns the benefits and the harms for society and also for the environment, of course. Now, when someone is pontificating, like I'm doing again today on research integrity, you get this slide. There are three options. This is how the world is meant to be. We call that responsible conduct of research. It's research that's relevant, that's valid, that's reproducible, and also efficient. This is the bleak downside, the deadly sins of science in North America labeled FFP, fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism. And the gray zone in between, to me most interesting, is what we call the questionable research practices, the sloppy science, the cutting corners. And in that domain, people just don't know how good science is supposed to be. People make honest errors because science is not easy, and there is already dubious integrity. I'm now cutting this corner because it's good for my career and it's not so awful for science. Then you are on the slippery slope already. And there are about 25 surveys being done worldwide in the last 10 years, all asking basically the same question: did you in the last 3 years commit F, F, or P? And then amazingly, 2% of my colleagues say yes. That's a lot. And it won't be an overestimation because this is self-reported. It's survey stuff. It will be an underestimation, most likely. And that means that when I'm working in a department of 50 scientists, one of them is a fraud. Not in my department, of course. There will be 2 in the neighboring department. That's clear. It's an average. That's clear. But still, it's a lot. But it's more amazing even when you look at the questionable research practices arena. 1/3 admits to cutting a serious corner at least once during the last 3 years. That is a lot. And that is doing damage to science and to the reputation of science.
Okay, so this video was about research integrity, and before that we talked about intellectual honesty. Somewhere you might have noticed that research integrity and intellectual honesty, link with each other. If you are honest, if you are intellectually honest, then definitely it will support your research integrity. And research integrity could be misconduct of a research, uh, publication issue, right? You're not finding out the right kind of journal, and there could be a predatory journal and you send your paper to predatory journal. So that would be a part of research integrity. We can speak about research integrity for 3-4 hours. That would be about publication, that would be about conducting a research, finding out a real kind of problem, and then using a different kind of tools and technique, and collecting information from a respondent. So there have been research integrity issue at different points, and here we have discussed already that we have this process of research at each and every stage, each and every point. You can see that issue of intellectual honesty and research integrity may arise. So here you can see some more information if you want to know more about these two topics, intellectual honesty and research integrity. We have this what do you call text link. So we suggest you to please go through and these few videos. So thank you very much for joining today, and this was lecture 6, and then we'll talk about lecture 7, and that would be the end of unit 2. So before we go for this, so we'll continue this in next session. Thank you very much, and we'll continue in the next session. And please watch this also. That would be about scientific misconduct, redundant publication, and selecting, reporting, and misinterpretation of data in lecture 7. Thank you.